Just when you thought Cyberpunk 2077 had ridden off into the neon sunset, CD Projekt Red hits the gas once again. Against most people's expectations, and after saying they were done with the game, the studio has revealed that Cyberpunk 2077 is getting more content. We're talking side quests, hopefully some more story, and yet another major update coming later this month, and it's patch 2.3. If you're still cruising through Night City, or maybe just starting your adventure on this newly released Switch 2 version, this is a pretty big deal. And if you thought Phantom Liberty was the last word in V's story, think again. We might be getting a little bit more content for this game. So let's break down what's happening, what it means, and why Cyberpunk 2077 is the game that refuses to flatline. But before we get into it, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest Cyberpunk news. And if you're interested, consider becoming a member on the channel for early access on every video, members only content, your name in the credits, the ability to write in and have your comments featured, and access to the Discord community. Let's rewind for a second. Cyberpunk 2077 had one of the rockiest launches in gaming history when it released back in 2020. You know the story by now. Glitches, performance disasters, and broken promises from CD Projekt Red at the time. But of course, as we all know by now, the studio didn't bail. They stuck with it, patched it, and over the years, they've reshaped the game into something worthy of its original ambition. And then came Phantom Liberty, the game's massive narrative expansion starring Idris Elba, which was hailed by critics and fans alike. And at that point in time, CDPR basically said, "We're done with the game. That's our last big update." And most of us believed them. But it turns out that wasn't the end for Cyberpunk 2077. Announced during the celebration of Cyberpunk's launch on Nintendo's new Switch 2 console, CD Projekt Red casually dropped the bomb. A new update is coming for this game. Patch 2.3 is set to release on June 26th, only a few more weeks away, and it will add brand new side content to the base game of Cyberpunk 2077. The global community manager confirmed the news on social media, while the senior community manager doubled down during a recent Red stream for the Nintendo Switch 2 launch of the game, and they said, "We're planning another part for the game." And the last one wasn't the last one. So, of course, that's the big question. What's in this new patch? The team hasn't revealed specifics yet, of course, but the phrase side quests and talk of the devs cooking in secret suggest this isn't just a bug fix or minor polish update. This is real, playable, hopefully narrative-driven content for Cyberpunk 2077. And it's probably the closest thing we'll actually get to a Phantom Liberty follow-up, but of course this will be nowhere near the size of that expansion. But let's be honest, after a hidden quest like Balatro and Update 2.2, expectations are pretty high. I say that a bit in jest, but it was a fun quest, but I'm really hoping for some story-driven content, at least in side quests that brings back some of the original voice actors and we get a little bit more story out of this game. You could argue that Update 2.3 for Cyberpunk 2077 isn't really that big of a deal. It's not a whole new expansion for the game, it's not Cyberpunk 2, but in terms of what it represents, it's massive. This is CD Projekt Red going the extra mile once again with this game. It's a sign of good faith, especially to longtime players who've stuck with the game from day one, and it shows that even after announcing the end, they're still listening, still building, and still exploring Night City's possibilities. It also suggests that internally, CDPR isn't totally done with the Cyberpunk 2077 engine and the systems, or at least Virtuous isn't, who's probably making this update. They're still tinkering and still storytelling, and for a game that's had such a turbulent journey to this point, that's a pretty incredible turnaround. Once patch 2.3 drops on June 26th, the obvious question at that point will be, what comes next? Will there be a 2.4 update for this game, another secret questline, more crossover content with a new anime, or maybe, just maybe, a new game plus mode? Of course, as of now, CDPR hasn't said, but they've also proven they don't always stick to the plan. If the response to this update is big from the fan base and the Switch 2 user base keeps growing, it's not crazy to think there could be another last update later down the line. At the very least, I guess you can expect more Red streams, community events, and maybe even anniversary celebrations as the game nears 5 full years since its original release. And maybe around that 5-year celebration point we get official mod tools for the game and maybe even mod tools on console. I know in the past year or two or so The Witcher 3 got official mod tools, and recently they just announced that The Witcher 3 will also be getting console mod support, so hopefully Cyberpunk 2077 gets the same treatment down the line. One of the coolest surprises of the year was Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be launching on the Nintendo Switch 2. If you told anyone back in 2020 that this graphically intense open world RPG would run on a handheld, they probably would have laughed you out of the room. And yet, here we are. And impressively, the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Cyberpunk 2077 includes the Phantom Liberty expansion right out of the gate. It's the ultimate edition of the game, and reviews from early hands-on events have been mostly positive. People are shocked at how well the game performs on this mobile platform, or I guess I should say handheld hybrid platform, whatever you want to call it. But obviously it doesn't look quite as crisp as the PS5, Xbox, or PC version of the game, but it is pretty solid. The fact that CDPR could even pull this off in the first place speaks pretty big volumes about how far the game and their tech has come. And I would imagine that the Switch 2 release also helped drive the return to development. With a fresh audience now joining the world of Cyberpunk, the timing was perfect for one more update, or hopefully several updates down the line. While CDPR continues to surprise us with updates to 2077, work on the sequel, now officially called Cyberpunk 2, formerly Project Orion, is already underway at their studio. In fact, as of May 2025, the game is now officially in pre-production. That means that now the concept phase is wrapped, and the team, now operating from CDPR's new North American studios in Boston and Vancouver, is working on early builds, systems planning, and creative foundations for this game. The sequel, of course, is still years away, but it is moving forward in development. And Mike Pondsmith, the original creator of the Cyberpunk universe and tabletop games, recently teased some juicy details about this upcoming game. According to him, Cyberpunk 2 will take players to a second city alongside Night City, one that feels like Chicago gone wrong. He didn't elaborate much from there, of course, but that phrase alone paints a pretty big picture about what we can expect from this new city. Gritty, corrupt, perhaps even more vertical and industrial than the neon sprawl of Night City, and it opens up a ton of questions. Will the city be playable in full, or will we just visit it for a few small quests? Can players travel between locations? Will we see new factions and ideologies emerge? For now, it's just a taste of what we can expect, but it's enough to keep the hype cycle spinning for this upcoming title. Meanwhile, the numbers speak for themselves. CDPR recently confirmed that Phantom Liberty has sold over 10 million copies at this point, making it one of the most successful expansions ever released for a single-player game. That's not just good, it's amazing. I mean, to put it in perspective, the base game of Cyberpunk 2077 was announced a few months ago, maybe half a year ago, to have sold about 30 million copies. So a 1 to 3 attach rate for the expansion is pretty crazy to think about. It definitely proves there's still a huge appetite for Cyberpunk content, and that the fan base has fully re-engaged with the world after the shaky launch back in 2020. And Phantom Liberty also showed off a tighter, more focused style of storytelling in this universe, something that CDPR could lean into even more for future games. And with the Ultimate Edition of Cyberpunk 2077 now available on modern consoles and the Switch 2, of course, even more players are being pulled back into the world of V, Johnny, and Dogtown. Oh, and while we're here, Cyberpunk Edgerunners Season 2, or whatever it's gonna be called, is looking more and more real. CDPR hasn't confirmed it yet, of course, but reports have hinted at an announcement coming as soon as July. Given the massive success of the original anime series on Netflix and what it brought to the game, it makes perfect sense. Edgerunners boosted game sales, revived interest in the franchise, and gave us unforgettable characters like David, Lucy, and Rebecca. A second series, potentially set in the same universe but featuring new characters and stories, would be a smart way to expand the brand without waiting for Cyberpunk 2. On the official Cyberpunk Edgerunners Twitter account, they said, "Hey Chooms, we'll be attending Anime Expo in sunny Los Angeles on July 3rd through 6th, 2025. Stay tuned, the next data drop's almost here." That pretty much all but confirms a new anime series is probably coming for Cyberpunk. So if you're into the lore, the vibes, or just that sweet Studio Trigger animation style, keep your eyes peeled next month at Anime Expo. Cyberpunk 2077's story to this point isn't just about a game, it's about redemption, about a studio listening to criticism, rebuilding trust, and pushing beyond the finish line to deliver on its promises that they made many years ago. Update 2.3 is just the latest chapter in that story. It's not going to rewrite the past, of course, but it shows that CDPR isn't taking their foot off the gas anytime soon. They're still crafting, still creating, and still telling stories in one of the most detailed sci-fi worlds gaming has ever seen. And you know what? To this point, it's worked. Today's Cyberpunk 2077 isn't just remembered as a disaster, it's remembered as a comeback story. And for me personally, it's one of my favorite games of all time. So whether you're jumping in for the first time or returning to see what's new for the game, patch 2.3 is another reason to revisit Night City. And who knows, maybe this time you'll find a few surprises waiting in the alleyways. To end the videos, we usually do audience write-ins, but with all the craziness going on with Summer Games Fest and all the news this week in general, I haven't had time to solicit the write-ins. So if you want to write in for future videos, head over to the post tab on my channel. When I have a chance, I will post the threads for upcoming videos there. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest Cyberpunk news. And if you're looking for something else to watch, click one of the videos you're seeing on screen right now. I will see you there. Also, a huge thank you to all the amazing channel members.